Everyone mocked this student because he scored exactly 2 points on his written academy exam. But they immediately stopped laughing when he stepped up for the physical test and destroyed the indestructible target in one hit. When humanity failed to vibe check, a creepy giant eye appeared. These monsters manifested everywhere, drawn to our dark energy. Demons didn't visit for the scenery. They came to end us. Their insane power made humanity look like quick snacks. We were definitely losing this endless game of survival. But then the gods finally threw us a bone. They gifted us divine cheat codes called manifestation blades. The lucky wielders became demon slayers to keep peace. One absolute legend could take down giants completely alone. This original Blade Emperor set the total beast standard. He basically carried the entire era on his back. One swing made demons history, proving his unmatched strength. The Blade Emperor title remains the ultimate hero goal. Each era's leader is guided by past slayers' legacies. They fight endlessly in this high-stakes hero business. Today, being a slayer is mostly about celebrity status. Current big shot Kenem Akuta needs new academy recruits. He wants stubborn kids with overwhelmingly massive egos, while everyone begs for choices. Can-Am films commercials. Bored with talented candidates, he wants someone truly unique. The top guy just wonders how to spice things up. Meanwhile, the literal top feels far away for most students. Kids use magic just to make it to class on time. One guy tries flying like an action movie star. Then there's our boy Haruto, who totally ruins the landing. He crashes into trash, kissing his dignity goodbye forever. Fixing his yellow clip, Haruto escorts Rika to school safely. Local gossips whisper about him being her personal bodyguard. Rika is a big deal because the gods chose her. People love his protection since gifted kids are prime targets. They view our little queen as a national treasure. Being chosen means getting a blade and massive fame. But you absolutely need spiritual energy to get invited. Neighborhood gossips point out the awkward exceptions to the rule. Our boy Haruto is sadly the poster child for exceptions. Everyone whispers because he has absolutely zero spiritual energy. People also love digging up his parents' tragic accident. He walks like a ghost, followed by loud pitying looks. Without energy, he's basically invisible to the gods. He expects the world to keep looking down on him. People treat him like he's completely broken and invisible. To everyone else, Haruto is just a defective, hopeless kid. He carries a grandiose title that nobody actually wants. Haruto is the kid who forgot his homework for 10 years. Classmates treat partnering with him like a social death sentence. The world reminds him daily that he's expected to fail. Local bullies decide our boy is today's only plaything. Hibiki's crew loves reminding Haruto of his rock-bottom status. Haruto glares, looking one bad day away from villainy. Without spiritual energy, he's running on an empty tank. The silver-haired bully launches a hurricane into his personal space. Haruto flies backwards, becoming a tragic human bowling ball. The bullies cheer, treating his suffering like a fun minigame. Tangled in trash, our boy has emotionally reached his limit. They demand he stand up just to knock him down again. The dirt floor is his only supportive friend right now. The cruel world doesn't care about his feelings or limits. A girl complains that Haruto isn't playing along with them. Hibiki puffs a cigarette, ruling his trash heap kingdom. Stepping on Haruto's head, the bully demotes him to a ball. Hibiki asks if staying down is making him look like a liar. Things escalate when the bully draws a flaming manifestation blade. He claims he just wants a comfortable school life while holding fire. Word is Hibiki drinks with Yakuza bosses on weekends. He presses the flaming blade onto our boy's hands. The worst part is Hibiki fake crying while burning him. Haruto screams, promising anything just to stop the agony. The bullies leave him alone, wondering why he's the universe's punching bag. His eyeballs sweat as the sheer injustice fully sinks in. An annoyed teacher finally shows up to the commotion. Hibiki's gang casually strolls off without a single worry. The teacher sighs, acting like Haruto is the inconvenience. He blames Haruto, as if getting bullied is a choice. Instead of helping, the teacher tells him to clean the mess. Without power in this world, you literally have no allies. Sweeping the dark alley, Haruto gives up on being saved. Evening news reports massive demons attacking the Tohoku region. Everyone obsesses over the Blade Emperor saving the day. Our little Queen Riko watches, looking like his biggest fan. She promises her dad she'll protect the city someday. Haruto recognizes the girl he safely escorted earlier. Seeing her future, he desperately wishes for her special energy. Suddenly, a loud blast shatters the peaceful evening vibe. Haruto watches in horror as Rika's father gets stopped. Masked creeps snatch our little queen into their van. Hiding behind a wall, Haruto recognizes that terrifying voice. He flashes back to her dad becoming a human kebab. He'd recognize the bully's flaming sword anywhere. The van screeches away, leaving Haruto choking on dust. Panicking, our boy sprints after the kidnapping vehicle. Realizing the street is empty hits him incredibly hard. He wonders why he's starring in a horror movie tonight. Still traumatized, Haruto questions why disasters always find him. His shaking legs keep moving as he finally acts brave. Calling emergency services, he worries he's just making things worse. The van parks at a construction site, giving him a breather. Panting heavily, he thanks the gods they didn't leave town. Sneaking closer, he hears a nearby door clock open. The goons complain about the heat like average summer workers. Haruto recognizes the school bullies without their masks. Hibiki announces a smoke break while his lackeys watch Rika. Hiding in shadows, our boy prays the cops arrive quickly. Deciding he can't wait, he bravely makes his move. Smashing a window, he officially announces his dramatic arrival. Hearing the crash, Haruto knows there's no turning back. The confused goons jump like they just saw a ghost. They investigate the noise, giving Haruto his perfect distraction. The empty hallway reeks of trouble and cheap cigarettes. Slipping inside the room, Haruto signals for absolute silence. He finds Rika tied up like a terrified holiday roast. Peeling off the tape, he promises everything will be okay. Untying her, he hopes they can safely make a run for it. Rika cries happy tears, thanking our boy for coming back. He freezes, realizing he's never actually been thanked before. Helping her up, Haruto feels a sudden main character energy surge. For once, someone is looking at him like a real hero. Feeling great, he almost forgets he's in a villain done. A flying foot instantly ends his hero moment with a thud. A massive kick sends him spinning across the painful floor. Mug Hibiki calls Haruto a ball rolling back for punishment. The armed gang mocks his pathetic attempt at playing hero. Soon, Haruto is hanging while a bully prepares to swing. Struggling to breathe, he realizes his rescue mission flopped. The agonizing pain makes him want to give up existing. Crying for help, he realizes nobody saves the punching bag. Laughing bullies remind him nobody ever helps the weak. Hanging by his wrists, our boy pretends he successfully stalled. Menacing underboss Shunpei Ida enters, impressed by their quick work. Hibiki plays the perfect soldier who acted on orders. Shunpei calls Rika a winning lottery ticket they can sell. Sweating eyeballs, our terrified heroine listens to this creep. Watching this horror show, Haruto demands answers from them. Shunpei thinks Hibiki is too soft and orders Haruto's death. Grinning like a psycho, Hibiki draws his flaming sword. Wiggling desperately, our boy prays the cops show up now. Looking at Rika, he knows they will both disappear forever. Filled with rage, Haruto screams for them to release her. Ignoring the hero's speech, Hibiki stabs the poor kid's back. Leading out, Haruto repeatedly curses his failure to change things. Our boy's last brain cells are still focused on saving his crush. A massive purple eyeball jump scares him, asking if he's ready to chat. He wakes up in a rusty sword field, a major vibe shift. Lost in this aggressive garden center, our guy looks around completely confused. No stab wounds here. Reality's problems miss the invite to this mental party. A creepy disembodied voice points out he's inside his own pointy head. Haruto spins like a confused puppy until told to look up. Up above floats a skeletal dragon god, who definitely isn't here for friendship. Our boy's eyeballs sweat pure terror facing a literal deity. The Bodadi introduces himself as Magatsukami, a god so ominous others shun him. Why does the superpower god look like pure nightmare fuel? Magatsukami offers a limited time deal, one wish, but the fine print is brutal. The catch? Making a wish means sacrificing everything for his mysterious goals. Haruto's brain short-circuits wondering if everything includes his soul or just Netflix. It's either sign the dotted line or rot like yesterday's leftovers. The god demands a worthy wish and his entire life as a down payment. Despite the massive red flags, Haruto feels this spooky bone guy can deliver. With Rika tied up and terrified, he refuses to let her story end. For once in his miserable life, he knows exactly what he wants. He screams for power to finally save the people he wants to protect. Even the god of calamity is shook by this kid acting like a simp. No, Haruto roars, officially done being everyone's favorite punching bag. Flashbacks show his old life as a wandering, defective ghost with no purpose. But Rika's genuine thank you gave him all the motivation he needed. That moment made our boy feel like a real, living human for once. To feel that again, he'll gladly hand his life to a skeletal deity. He demands the power to carve through absolutely anything in his way. Loving the massive ego, Magatsukami calls him worthy of a calamity god's attention. To keep this business fair, the god swaps his life for something intense. Out come the 10 powers, glowing demonic claws ready to wreck the world. Meet the 10 claws of calamity, Haruto's shiny new weapons of mass destruction. Sealed with dark energy, the pack tells Haruto to go absolutely wild. Back in reality, the thugs get ready to move Rika like stolen luggage. Mid-sentence, the flame-likey stops to stare at a seriously glitching sky. It's a revelation, that dramatic anomaly when a god drops fresh power. Normally, these world-class spectacles leave everyone staring in total amazement. Standard issue revelations pack rainbow dragons and glowing lights that feel super blessed. Seeing those pretty lights, people usually weep with joy and pray. But Haruto's power-up is a pitch-black sword dripping with absolute malice. The sky turns blood red, raining crimson light on an unprepared city. Panicking, the flame thug loses his mind while Hibiki tries to process it. With silver hair and a dark blade, our boy stands up to wreck them. Looking like a high-end salon model, Haruto demands they let our girl go. Hibiki's crew nearly has a heart attack seeing their pincushion completely healed. Gripping a pitch-black sword, our guy finally looks like a real main character. Jaw on the floor, Hibiki wonders how the punching bag got a legendary weapon. The flame thug whines about spiritual energy, but Shunpei Ida just wants him dead. Ignoring the identity crisis, our boy demands Rika while dark energy swirls around. Getting cocky, the flame thug laughs about amateurs letting power go to their heads. He lunges with a flaming sword, screaming like a low-budget action star. Unblinking, Haruto refuses to apologize for the beatdown that's about to happen. One swing of his dark blade completely breaks the construction site's power scaling. Shattering the flaming blade is utterly humiliating for a guy who peaked in high school. A massive dark energy pillar erupts, probably alerting every demon slayer for miles. Flying through the air, the terrified thug regrets bullying the quiet kid. Under a blood-red sky, Haruto finally stops being a victim to change his destiny. Standing in the rubble, he knows his era as a total nobody is over. This new dark katana is the perfect tool to sever his miserable chains. Miles away, Blade Emperor Kenem Umpata casually eats ramen under a bleeding sky. While his subordinates scream about the apocalypse, our king just wants noodle refills. Panicking cons remind him a level 10 revelation needs immediate attention, not snacks. Slurping his noodles, Akuta ranks good ramen higher than the end of the world. Always polite, he thanks the owner and finally decides to wrap things up. Hitting out, he muses that every manifestation blade is just physical human ego. Judging if that ego is good or evil is why he gets paid. Revelations are rare moments gods drop massive power-ups, normally with way more sparkle. City locals are glued to their phones, recording this creepy disaster movie anomaly, broadcasting to every social feed. This world-shaping event changes absolutely everything. Akuta remains convinced that human desire drives every blade, despite its divine origin. Back at the site, settling dust reveals a totally different scene around the van. Haruto checks on Rika while the purple spirit explains she just fainted from aura. Relieved she's safe, our boy's face softens up from his scary badass mode. Staring at the massive crater, he wonders if he really caused this much destruction. Cutting the feelings short, the spirit reminds him it's time to pay the god. Shifting ominously, the entity declares its true, terrifying goal is about to begin. Haruto struggles to hear the glitching voice through their fading cosmic connection. The shadow orders him to unlock the blade's true power if he wants survival. Completely confused, our boy stares at the sword like it needs an instruction manual. Dropping one final warning about their deal, the spirit vanishes like a bad ghosting. Left clutching the katana, Haruto wonders how to be the world's most dangerous defective. Meanwhile, Shunpei Ida sneaks through the shadows like he's in the wrong genre. Terrified of this monster, he admits Haruto's power makes Hibiki look like a joke. Noping right out, Ida plans a quick exit before our boy spots him. Fumbling his phone like a boomer, Akuta tries to find the camera app. Confirming the most wanted list, he spots Ida's nasty kidnapping and theft resume. With catwalk grace, Akuta steps in, mostly worried about dusting his designer trench coat. "Who is this stylish stranger?" screams a thug, mad about the interrupted bullying. Scanning the wreckage, Akuta pieces the drama together faster than a gossip queen. Wide-eyed and sweating, Haruto is totally blindsided by this brand new player. Before anyone blinks, Akuta lectures the boss about bad manners like a fashionable teacher. Having a meltdown, Haruto wonders if he just hallucinated a flying head from exhaustion. Akuta casually asks who made the crater, and Haruto mutters a very confused yes. Flashing his digital Demon Slayer license like a VIP pass, Akuta introduces himself. Honestly impressed, he notes the shockwave was way beyond normal student capabilities. Sending the thug flying without a scratch proves Haruto's power is terrifyingly precise. Narrowing his eyes, Akuta realizes our boy manifested a high-level blade in record time. The Emperor is genuinely shocked this defective kid packs so much raw, unrefined power. Ominous spiritual energy leaks off the katana like a bad vibe you can't shake. Dropping a bombshell, Akuta reveals the sword houses a god who hates world peace. Looming right behind Haruto, Magatsukami's skeletal shadow looks like the ultimate bad influence. Laughing at the chaos, the purple spirit loves that Haruto angered the strongest guy. Flashing a charming smile, Akuta offers to safely snap the blade like a breadstick. Jaw completely dropped, Haruto refuses to let some bucket hat guy break his life's purchase. Without waiting, Akuta lunges, clashing swords hard enough to restart a small engine. Flying debris officially turns this construction site into a permanent demolition zone. Sweating through his uniform, our boy tries to process this hero's blistering speed. One slow reaction and he'd be pavement, while Akuto stands there completely unbothered. Preaching about world peace, the Emperor promises to clean up any potential apocalypse. But Haruto clutches his glowing red katana like his actual life depends on it. Shocked the blade survived, Akuto admits Haruto's grip easily outshines his sloppy technique. Playing good cop, he warns that clinging to dark power is a total disaster. Doubting himself, our boy wonders if he's a threat or just getting professionally gaslit. Remembering the god of calamity's blessing, his resolve hardens like week-old pizza. Akuta politely asks one last time for the spooky sword, so everyone can leave. No way, Haruto yells, refusing to give up his only escape from being victimized. Sighing like a disappointed dad, the Emperor adjusts his hat to do his duty. Heart hammering, our boy grips the hilt to fight a legend for his soul. Warning him to let go, Akita's voice goes icy cold as he gets serious. Clashing in blinding yellow and dark energy, they look like a failed fireworks show, moving as blurs. Their heavy blows would level the neighborhood if they weren't careful. Haruto realizes the Blade Emperor title is definitely earned. Pouring everything into a massive swing, his dark energy screams against Akuta's overwhelming light. The resulting explosion knocks out power for blocks, sending dust plumes into the air. Locked in a desperate struggle, Haruto refuses to let his one chance snap away. Our boy tumbles through the air, dodging like his life actually depends on it. The Emperor rains down glowing yellow slashes, admitting Haruto has some decent survival instincts. Meanwhile, our guy is sweating bullets, realizing the legend is speeding up while he's maxed out. Why cling to a power that doesn't fit you? Haruto asks, leaning in with deep advice. A quick slash nicks his cheek as the Emperor asks what he even plans to do. Our hero instantly shouts he wants to help people, but Akuta isn't buying that generic talk. With eyes glowing, Haruto stubbornly insists he is dead serious about his answer. In reality, he's just remembering the moment he saved that girl and finally felt alive. Walking forward calmly, the Emperor warns he might just be drunk on his new magic blade. Then he drops a heavy truth bomb, suggesting that killing someone might feel just as satisfying. Honestly, if our boy starts enjoying the violence, he'll just become a prisoner to his own power. To drive the point home, Akuto unleashes a massive shockwave that turns the ground into rubble. He clarifies he isn't trying to change him, since you can do good without a fancy sword. Hunched over and gasping, Haruto's battered body is basically screaming at him to just give up. But Akuta watches closely, realizing that last strike wasn't something a normal amateur could pull off. This kid is a total wildcard who could be a savior or a disaster, a double-edged sword. So the Emperor raises his hand, deciding to end this fight before our boy suffers anymore. Suddenly, a massive golden pillar erupts, sending Haruto flying backward into suffocating pressure. Our guy's eyeballs are sweating as the magical pressure crushes him, leaving him shaking and barely standing. Covered in bruises, he honestly thinks this pressure feels worse than the time he straight up died. Akuto flat out promises the next hit will kill him, demanding he drop the scary sword. Yet Haruto stares at his glowing blade, knowing some people can only be saved with this power. Screaming at the top of his lungs, he refuses to let the second chance go to waste. Stopping dead in his tracks, the legendary hero is clearly caught off guard by that raw response. So Akuta just smirks, deciding the stubborn kid will just have to face the brutal consequences. Diving back in, he tells our hero he is totally free to hate him for what comes next. The two powerful blades instantly collide in a blinding, explosive flash of pure white light. Inside his head, the skeletal god reminds our boy not to forget the lethal deal they made. This dark sword supposedly cuts through absolutely anything the user is determined to destroy. Pouring out his power, Haruto puts absolutely everything he has into a massive vertical swing. The ground literally shatters under his heavy spiritual power as he throws everything into one strike. He lets out a desperate roar as the two crazy forces violently clash one last time. Our boy promises to cut down every single obstacle in his way with his dark blade. Suddenly, the tip of the Emperor's famous sword snaps clean off and launches into the sky. And just like that, Haruto realizes his grand hero moment tanked because his gas is empty, falling straight to his knees. He cries while Akuta looms over him like a scary final boss. Yet the Emperor notices that even with a broken blade, the stubborn kid refuses to let go. Smiling warmly, Akuta sheathes his sword and finally admits he believes in our boy's strong heart. Still totally dazed, Haruto listens as the legend promises to stop breaking his stuff and heal him. Healing his arm with green energy, Akuto explains that real demon slayers actually talk through their blades. He knows Haruto genuinely wants to save people, and those messy feelings aren't a lie. Seeing the raw essence of his soul in that strike, the Emperor knows he found someone special. He tells our boy he is safe, since his crazy resolve keeps that dark ego in check. Meanwhile, our hero is vibrating with guilt, constantly apologizing for snapping a priceless legendary weapon. Haruto is basically having an existential crisis, thinking he just broke a top hero's actual soul. Of course, Akuto was just messing with him, revealing that precious blade was just a cheap toy. Getting serious again, Akata points out he is currently Haruto's only real fan in this world. He tells our guy to properly learn how to swing that fancy toothpick before he dies. Honestly, the Emperor knows the perfect brutal place for some remedial Demon Slayer training. He casually hands Haruto a golden ticket to the most elite hero entrance exam in the business. Left totally speechless, our hero just stands there trying to process his sudden crazy career change. Welcome to Tokoku Academy, the absolute gateway for anyone wanting to slice up nasty demons. 2 days later, those massive academy gates look way more terrifying than any normal high school should. Looking pretty smug, Akuta hands over a shiny recommendation letter despite the super short notice. Naturally, Haruto clutches that little paper like it is his only ticket to a better life. This is the Ivy League of demon slaying, where every single top-tier hero officially graduated. Looking around, our boy quickly realizes the competition is heavily stacked with terrifyingly tough experts. Talk about a reality check. Literally every single applicant here is packing their own magic blade. Meanwhile, his own scary sword has been giving him the silent treatment since that big fight. Our hero practically begs his ghost weapon to say anything before this massive life-changing test. Clenching his teeth, he promises to use this stubborn blade to save people no matter what. For the first time ever, our guy has a real purpose, and he is giving it everything. Suddenly, Akata nearly gives our boy a heart attack with a friendly, unexpected slap on the back. The casual legend finally introduces himself properly, telling the nervous kid to just call him a super grateful. Haruto still realizes he is walking into this exam totally blind to the rules. Akuta just laughs like he forgot the rules, leaving our hero seriously questioning his mentor's sanity. Flashing 3 fingers, he explains a brutal trio of tests stands between him and his dreams. Each test is graded out of 100, and his total score decides his entire future. Panicking, Haruto explains he is a total magic newbie who hasn't learned a single thing yet. Giving a cheesy thumbs up, Akuta claims Guts beat books, which definitely doesn't ease the panic. Right on cue, the intercom announces the first round of official examinee torture is beginning. Akuta notes it's just a general knowledge test, so there is zero reason to stress. Giving an encouraging smile, he says he is hyped to see Haruto carve his own path. Pumping his fist, our boy figures if a total legend believes in him, he will be fine. Entering the giant exam hall, he tries to keep his nervous heart from escaping his chest. Honestly, Haruto thinks he's got this since he was actually a decent student before the chaos. Then he opens the scary booklet, and his entire academic worldview just instantly crumbles. Staring in pure horror, he wonders how any of this absolute nonsense qualifies as general knowledge. Question 1 asks about Earth manipulation escape techniques, which might as well be written in Alien. The next asks about demon concealing magic and light astrology rituals, totally normal high school stuff. Our poor boy's eyeballs are sweating as he realizes a big fat 0 is definitely incoming. Meanwhile, Akuto happily munches a snack outside, totally assuming the kid is crushing the easy test. Soon, everyone else walks out bragging about their high scores like it was absolute baby stuff. But Haruto is just a hollow shell, staring into the void because he couldn't answer anything. Shambling like a sad zombie, our hero is fully traumatized by his catastrophic testing encounter. Suddenly, a very loud and angry man stops him, demanding to know if he is Kamakuri. This grumpy teacher clearly isn't a fan, sighing that our boy always causes messy problems everywhere. Stammering nervously, Haruto tries playing the fancy recommendation card from a real pro. Not buying it, the angry teacher snatches his exam voucher with enough force to cause whiplash. Honestly, this hostile vibe triggers bad memories, making Haruto freeze up like an old broken computer. Seeing the paperwork is totally legit seems to annoy the grumpy teacher even more than fakes. Then he spots the score, a spectacular 2 points out of 100, and silence falls. Losing his mind, the guy screams about the 2 points, demanding our boy know his place. Naturally, the peanut gallery gossips, calling Haruto a cursed disease they shouldn't even stand near. Ripping the voucher, the teacher calls our boy magicless trash who doesn't belong here at all. He loudly tells Haruto to pack his bags, calling his presence a literal insult to heroes. Walking away smugly, the bullies leave our hero completely alone to contemplate his sad life choices. Collapsing to his knees, Haruto is deeply haunted by Akuta's warm hope for his grand future. Meanwhile, over at the second exam hall, things look way more like a flashy athletic event. This next round is the physical test, where kids finally get to show off their toothpicks. There are destruction swords for smashing, support for buffing, and healing types for the nice kids. A loud announcement tells everyone to head straight to the booth matching their magical blades vibe. Rocking cute pink hair buns, Examiner Momo warmly welcomes the fresh meat to the destruction sector. She explains the simple mission. Just hit the giant gargoyle statue and don't look totally pathetic. Our girl warns this stone is as tough as real demons, so weak slaps won't work. Honestly, if they swing half-heartedly, they will just get hurt, so put your back into it. The first examinee charges like he's the main character, swinging a blade glowing with green energy. Hitting the statue, he is instantly rejected, flying backward while realizing demons are harder than steel. Watching the failure, Momo notes that even leaving a tiny scratch would be a decent result. But the next guy actually draws real sparks with lightning, earning himself a solid 50 points. Keeping at it, he leaves a few more burn marks until our girl awards him 65. That grumpy teacher from earlier cheers from the sidelines like this is his absolute proudest student. Then a new shiny challenger appears, looking entirely too rich and way too cool for school. Barely trying, always slices straight through the giant tough statue like it is made of butter. The crowd absolutely loses their minds because he just scored a perfect 100 for total destruction. Sheathing his sword with a click, the Ice King leaves everyone wondering who he actually is. Aoi just looks completely bored of being so much better than every other applicant in here. Settling the loud students, Momo secretly pities the poor kid who has to follow that act. That heavy tension lingers as the rich kid walks off the field like he owns it. Up on the balcony, important observers confirm he is the second son of the famous Raidojas. One examiner is super relieved by this high-quality talent, totally convinced Aoi will easily take first. Lurking nearby, the glasses instructor smirks, asking if there's some hidden bias behind that quality comment. He claims he just wants fair grading, though his shady expression definitely hides a deeper motive. Meanwhile, Aoi thinks the power level of everyone here is so pitifully low it's practically insulting. Running at full speed, our boy predictably slams face first into the absolute worst person possible. He immediately stammers out a messy apology, explaining he ran late and wasn't watching his step. Looking around, Haruto notices the suspicious silence, wondering if he somehow totally missed the entire exam. Already over the drama, Momo announces she is officially wrapping up the test if nobody steps up. Throwing his hand up, our boy loudly shouts that examinee 1042 is still here and ready. Busy walking away, the judgmental heir suddenly stops dead when he hears Haruto's very desperate shout. The Ice King is totally confused because his own elite blade just hummed at this clumsy kid. Fumbling toward the center, Haruto looks so frantic that Momo literally tells him to breathe first. Staring at his glowing sword, Aoi tries to deny it could ever react to a loser. Presenting his violently ripped and taped voucher, our hero politely begs for a fair physical evaluation. Spotting that pathetic 2-point score, Momo basically tells him to step up whenever he's ready to fail. The nasty stands mock him relentlessly, convinced this loser doesn't have a single drop of magic. But Haruto totally ignores the noise, his hand hovering over his hilt as he finds his center. Hearing those cruel comments about being magicless trash, he honestly almost believes them for a second. Then he finally stops listening, unleashing a fiery red surge that turns the stadium into a furnace. Both instructors are completely floored, their eyeballs sweating at a power level they didn't think existed. Looking like an absolute menace, our boy delivers one devastating strike dripping with massive spiritual pressure. Meanwhile, Ahoy is on a boring phone call that quickly shifts to some very juicy rumors. Hearing the Blade Emperor personally recommended some random examinee is a huge mic drop for the heir. The name finally clicks just as Always sees the gargoyle completely split by a massive red slash. That technique was as rough as sandpaper, but the rich kid can't deny the terrifying result. His magical sword was totally right. This clumsy kid is the absolute monster everyone is talking about. Sheathing his sword amid total chaos, Haruto looks just as surprised as everyone else by his swing. Flashing total destruction and a perfect 100 points, the scoreboard officially shuts up every single hater. Our hero remembers his promise to keep carving his own path, ignoring whoever tries pulling him down. With 102 points, Haruto officially goes from biggest joke to most dangerous mystery. The next batch of diamonds in the rough is currently under the microscope. Up in the high-tech sanctuary of the examiner's lounge, the staff is basically binge-watching the student monitors. Kanim Akuta leans in close, clearly spotting a gem that's a lot more interesting than your average student. Our boy Kanim looks way too pleased with himself, casually asking if everyone else is seeing the sparkle he's seeing. But Kasabi isn't exactly feeling the vibe, crossing his arms like the world's sternest hall monitor. In reality, he's more worried about that creepy red aura leaking out of the kid's blade, calling it a straight-up seed of trouble. Kasabi is staring at Haruto Kamakiri like the kid is a walking disaster just waiting to happen. The Blade Emperor jokes about his buddy keeping an eye on the kid, but the official is convinced he'll fail before they even finish their coffee. Sensing a chance for some high-stakes drama, the legend suggests a little wager to keep things interesting. If Haruto somehow pulls a miracle and takes first place, the official has to personally train the little seed of trouble. Kasabi's curious about what he gets if the kid flops as hard as he expects, which is basically guaranteed in his mind. So our boy Akuta offers up a literal blank check, any wish within his power as the Blade Emperor is on the table. The deal is sealed with a simple, very well, because you'd have to be crazy to turn down a favor from the strongest guy in the room. Then the official turns his attention back to the screens, ready to see if this third exam will finally expose the kid's true colors. He's basically waiting for the gem to shatter, eager to see if there's any real potential under all that hype. Meanwhile, the students are currently packed into a room that's giving major dark and cramped dungeon vibes. Haruto Kamakiri is staring at his pathetic 102-point total, looking like he's about to start sweating eyeballs from the stress. Suddenly, the examiner pops up and rings a bell like he's calling everyone for a very dangerous dinner. Everyone snaps to attention because the third exam is finally about to drop. This absolute legend is out here balancing on the pommel of a sword while announcing a good old-fashioned demon hunt. He points toward the Academy's Demon Preserve, which sounds like a nice park if you ignore all the things trying to eat you. This forest basically acts like a magnet for bad energy, turning the whole place into a monster-infested mash pit. It's managed so that everything from tiny pests to intermediate demons can show up and ruin your day. Our boy's heart basically stops at the word intermediate, because that sounds way outside his comfort zone. To avoid a total tragedy, everyone gets a magical dog tag that teleports them to safety if they're about to get clapped. It's a great safety net. But if that forced return spell kicks in, your exam score officially hits 0. All the boring rules are on the back of the tag, reminding everyone that intermediate kills are the real bank breakers. The examiner drops some truth about knowing when to run, since intermediate demons are usually game over for most students. Haruto gets all fired up, ready to go full main character mode as soon as the gate opens. But then comes the massive however that's about to ruin his entire morning. To keep things from becoming a total stampede, they're letting the elite students with the high scores start first. The top-tier kids go flying into the forest like they're racing for the last limited edition merch drop. Leading the pack is Ryudoji Toya, who's currently sitting pretty in first place with a near-perfect score. Our boy Haruto realizes he's going to be waiting a while, and honestly, things are starting to look pretty bad for our guy. Fast forward 45 minutes, and the forest has probably been picked clean by the time his group is up. The examiner even gives him a just do your best pity talk like he's a participation trophy candidate. Finally, the silver-haired youth is cleared for takeoff and charges into the woods with a literal battle cry. The staff is still gossiping about the kid who scored less than 10 points on the last test, assuming he's toast. Our hero knows he has to sprint deep into the forest if he wants to find any demons that haven't been hunted yet. But then he realizes he's moving like he's on fast forward, feeling lighter than he ever thought possible. It feels exactly like that moment he clashed with Kamagada, where his body just moved in ways he never imagined. He leaps over rocks like a pro, finally feeling that crazy power bubbling up from his manifestation blade. Our boy is out here pulling off some straight-up movie stunts, kicking off a rock and leaving a trail of blue energy behind. He's currently in the zone, his red eye focused as he realizes his body is moving like it's finally been upgraded to the premium version. For the first time in his life, our guy is actually feeling what spiritual energy and physical reinforcement are all about. In reality, he's basically having a religious experience midair, wondering if this is the world everyone else has been living in this whole time. He's currently leaping through the trees like he's playing a high-stakes game of Flora's Lava, and honestly, he's crushing it. Haruto is zeroed in on his surroundings, finally getting a taste of what it's like to have a little main character energy. But the honeymoon phase ends quickly when a massive wolf demon decides to join the party and pounce from the shadows. Our boy's heart basically stops when he sees those giant fangs, realizing that a head-on hit would definitely end his day early. In a total oh crap moment, he manages to jam his blade into the beast's mouth just in time to stop the chomping. But then he realizes something weird. The wolf's attack feels way lighter than he expected, almost like it's moving in slow-mo. Our guy effortlessly flips onto a branch, looking down at the mangy wolf and realizing it's just a low-level fodder demon. In reality, compared to the absolute beatdown he took from Kanemakuta, this thing's bite is basically a playful nip. He drops back down and delivers a clean slash, turning the demon into a very dramatic spray of mist and blood. Our hero flashes a wild, fanged grin that says he's officially done being the bottom-tier loser of the group. He stands over the remains, feeling himself for once and deciding he's going to ride this momentum all the way to the top. Meanwhile, deeper in the forest, we meet a confident girl in blue robes with a high ponytail who's currently handling a whole squad of demons. She's got a friend with short orange hair who's clearly the aggressive one of the group, yelling at everyone to match her timing. Then there's a nervous-looking girl with large round glasses who's doing her best to keep up while looking like she's about to sweat eyeballs. Our girl with the glasses starts channeling some green energy, trying to play her part in the team's messy coordination. The aggressive one with the orange hair goes for a jumping strike, looking like she's trying to secure that MVP spot. The team pulls off a rock flow bind, trapping the demons in a bunch of floating rocks like it's a high-budget special effect. One demon tries to make a break for it, but the girl in the blue robes shuts that down with a splashy rending blaze attack. Ponytail is feeling pretty confident now, telling the girls they're definitely going to place near the top if they keep this up. She slashes through a demon like she's just taking out the trash, looking like she's already mentally celebrating. But then, out of nowhere, her dog tag starts glowing and she gets hit with the Force Return spell in a burst of blood. Her friends are left staring at the empty space, wondering if they just got jumped by a terrifying intermediate demon. The girl with the orange hair is currently looking around in a panic, desperately trying to figure out where the threat is. Suddenly, a giant dark bird thing dives out of the canopy, looking way more threatening than the forest's usual mobs. Our girl gets clapped instantly, letting out a scream as she realizes the safety net is about to kick in. In an instant, she's teleported away in a flash of blue light, leaving the group's nervous support all by her lonesome. The girl with glasses is currently trembling, so hard her glasses might fall off, unable to even see where the demon is moving. The intermediate demon is basically breathing down her neck, and she realizes her exam is about to end in a very painful way. It raises a claw to finish the job, and things are looking pretty grim for our girl. But then a silver flash cuts through the tension, and our boy Haruto drops into the scene like a knight in shining sneakers. He slashes right through the beast in one go, turning the scary intermediate demon into a fountain of red liquid. The girl is left standing there with her mouth open, wondering who this silver-haired god is and how he just one-shot a monster. Haruto turns around looking like a total badass, but then he catches sight of the girl he just helped. He immediately loses all his cool points and drops into a full-on sliding bow, apologizing for stealing her kill. The girl with glasses is currently processing the fact that she was actually about to die, not win an MVP award. She stares down at the boy currently face-planting the dirt, feeling way more confused than relieved. Haruto looks up with his eyes sparkling like diamonds, absolutely thrilled that he actually managed to be useful for once. He waves goodbye like a dorky little brother and leaps away, telling her to do her best as he heads back into the hunt. Our boy is currently floating on Cloud 9, absolutely stoked that he managed to help someone out in the forest. He's currently figuring out the ultimate life hack. If he just follows the sounds of screaming and clashing swords, he'll find all the demons he needs. In reality, he's realized he can stack up exam points and legally get thanked at the same time. It's a total win-win for his ego. Our hero spots another group in trouble, and wastes no time leaping through the trees like he's in a high-budget action sequence. Haruto's currently in the zone, his red eye glowing with focus as he prepares to deliver another life-saving slash. He's currently carving through the monsters like a pro, much to the shock of the girl with the glasses who is just about to become demon dinner. Our guy is currently making short work of the forest's lower-tier mobs, his blade leaving trails of energy through the air. The girl with the glasses is currently stammering out a thank you, while our hero tries to play it cool with a humble little no problem. In reality, he's basically glowing from the praise, telling her he just really wanted to lend a hand. Our boy is currently waving goodbye while she tells him he's literally the best thing to happen to her all day. He's currently pumping his fist, feeling that warm, fuzzy feeling in his chest that only comes from being a certified good boy. Our hero realized he hasn't bumped into any scary intermediate demons yet, and he's starting to think this might actually be his lucky day. He's currently telling himself that if things get too spicy, he'll just pull a tactical retreat and run for his life. But of course, the universe hears him and immediately surrounds him with a nightmare fuel collection of spiders and bats. Our boy is currently perched on a branch, sweating eyeballs as he tries to figure out how to help another group surrounded by a sea of monsters. Suddenly, a massive blast of blue energy erupts, and a giant spiritual dragon arm starts clearing the field like a lawnmower. Out steps our next top model, Doji, looking cold, elegant, and very unimpressed with our boy's presence. He's currently unleashing his raging dragon arm, a move so flashy it basically turns the forest into a rave from hell. Aoi is currently finishing his move in the center of the destruction, his long blue hair flowing like he's got a personal wind machine following him. Our hero is currently staring at the aftermath, realization hitting him that he's not the only one with some serious main character energy. Always currently looking down at Haruto, telling him in the coldest way possible that it looks like he survived the explosion. The blue-haired elite is currently squinting at our boy, asking if he's actually the famous Haruto Kamakiri. Haruto's currently confused, wondering how this cool guy knows his name, before remembering he was kind of a mess during the second exam. But before our boy can even finish his thought, Aoi suddenly lunges forward with a strike that's definitely not a friendly greeting. Our guy is currently blocking for his life, asking what on earth possessed this guy to start a duel in the middle of a forest. Always currently staring into Haruto's soul with his sharp blue eyes, telling him he simply can't accept the rumors without proof. In reality, he's currently thinking back to when the legendary Blade Emperor himself showed our boy some special attention. Always currently demanding that Haruto show him the power that earned the approval of the strongest man in the world. Our hero is currently struggling to keep his ground, pointing out that he's barely even started the actual exam yet. The two are currently clashing swords with enough sparks to start a forest fire, while Haruto tries to explain that they shouldn't be fighting each other. Always currently looking down his nose at him, calling the entire exam a trivial waste of time that means absolutely nothing to him. He's currently radiating a cold aura, his face a mask of aristocratic boredom and intense expectation. Suddenly, Always Eye begins to glow with a dark, swirling energy that feels way more dangerous than any demon they faced. Our boy is currently sent flying back by the sheer pressure, his body reacting before his brain even realizes he's in danger. Haruto's currently staring at his trembling hands, wondering what that terrifying pressure was and why his body just forced him to retreat. He's currently gritting his teeth, his inner monologue getting heated as he repeats the word trivial like a bad taste in his mouth. Our boy is currently flashing back to the moment the Blade Emperor acknowledged him, giving his life a path and a purpose for the first time. He's currently standing his ground against Aoi, telling him that while this exam might be a joke to an elite, it's everything to him. Our boy's currently showing those fangs again, his red eyes blazing with a fury that says this trivial exam is a hill he's willing to die on. Our boy Haruto looks way too intense for a defective. But that focus? It's a whole mood. He slices a demon clean in half while a classmate just stares, stunned. Swing first, panic later. Somehow that's actually working for him. Back on the observation deck, the Blade Emperor cracks up at our boy's ego. Next up on the monitor, Ryudoji Toya, an elite drowning in hair gel. Examiner Momo isn't shocked. Overachievers always try to break the curve. This whole thing is basically a VIP watch party, and Kaname's got the best seat. Momo admits it, this year's batch hits different. Kaname leans in and asks Kasabi if they should step in before things get messy. Kasabi already knows better. The Emperor only asks when the answer is yes. Meanwhile in the forest, Haruto and Toya are locked in a staring contest of pure ego. Our boy swings for the fences, hoping to wrap this up before dinner. The shockwave rips the ground apart, sending the rich kid sliding out of the blast zone. Toya's starting to realize this defective might actually be fast. Cue the flashback. Toya's mind jumps straight to getting wrecked by the Blade Emperor. He calls Haruto's style amateurish. His face says otherwise. Turns out the blue-haired genius really isn't used to playing defense. So he tells Haruto to show him everything. Classic elite trash talk. They clash midair, sparks flying like it's the season finale. Haruto's no pro, but he's making this genius sweat way more than expected. Then, of course, the local demons decide it's time for a group hug. No time to complain. Haruto's straight back to hacking through the crowd. And fair enough, this swarm is way too much for a normal exam. Turns out Toya caused this whole mess by burning incense to lure more prey. Haruto calls him a menace. Toya's too busy showing off to care. Relax, Toya says. These demons are basically nobodies. Then he drops his full name like he's expecting an autograph. Done with the attitude, Haruto demands to know why he's being so reckless. Meanwhile, something massive and skeletal starts forming in the shadows behind them. Both boys are too busy fighting to notice the horror movie monster spawning right there. Then Haruto freezes. His danger radar just went off hard. He reaches out to stop Toya, right as his rival launches another flashy attack. Wait, Haruto begs. The forest just turned deadly. But Toya just looks at him like he's lost it, totally oblivious. Finally, even the arrogant elite feels the air turn heavy. Killing too many demons, he explains, creates a nasty rot called miasmal. That purple smoke gathers fast into a cloud that reeks of bad news. Wide-eyed, Toya realizes this miasma just called in something way stronger. Haruto can feel it too. This definitely isn't the incense anymore. The miasma twists into a toxic tornado, and something worse is coming. Out of the rot steps a bone-white skeleton, trailing floating black spheres. The pressure alone cracks the ground. These two boys are officially out of their depth. This high-level demon did not show up for snacks. Toy starts sweating. This pressure is way above his pay grade. Bless him, Haruto still thinks this is just a regular intermediate demon. Get a clue, the elite screams. This is a real boss fight. Deep down, Toya knows he caused this whole disaster. But his ego bounces right back, and he claims the demon as his prey. Good luck, Haruto says dryly, fully ready to watch this elite fail. Toya even tries scheduling a duel for later. Haruto just sticks his tongue out. Now it's just Toya against the demon he personally summoned. He locks onto the floating spheres, wondering if they're just annoying projectiles. Spoiler, they give major do not touch energy as the demon creeps closer. This purple glow is about to ruin somebody's whole afternoon. Toya launches his running dragon technique, all flash, zero hesitation. He clashes with the spears, desperate to prove he's the genius everyone says he is. He zips through the air like an action hero, but the demon looks completely bored. Still, Toya trusts his speed. The spears are rock hard, sure, but so is he. The bone beast just watches, probably wondering why this kid's trying so hard. Toya smirks, thinking this fight's basically a warm-up. Haruto sees the danger and yells a warning. Naturally, the elite ignores him. Mid-smirk, Toya gets blindsided by an invisible force and sent flying. He slams into the ground hard enough to redo the landscaping. Spinning out, he can't figure out how he never sensed the attack. Thrown around by invisible shadows, he starts wondering if this is some kind of curse. Luckily, our boy jumps in just in time, blocking a hit Toya never even saw coming. Haruto cuts straight through the air, exposing the real invisible threat. They land safe, and Toya's left there questioning his entire life. Sweating bullets, the elite realizes the defective kid just saved him. Piece by piece, he figures out the black spheres were just decoys all along. He stares at Haruto like he grew a second head. How did a magicless kid see that coming? But Haruto's eyes are glowing crimson now. He's seeing a whole different world. As the demon winds up again, Haruto plants himself between it and his confused rival. Only our boy can actually track the rippling purple spheres filling the air. Turns out this hyper-awareness wasn't a gift. It was survival. His whole life, people who thought they were better than him just kept hitting him. Years of watching for the next hit taught him to read danger early. Being everyone's punching bag forced his body to adapt or break. A boss-level strike would kill most people. For Haruto, it's just another dodge. Honestly, he's faced death more than once. He literally died earlier today. After going toe-to-toe with the Blade Emperor, staying alive is basically his specialty now. All that suffering? It sharpened his instincts into something else entirely. So while Toya's fighting blind, our boy sees every single spinning death orb clearly. Trusting the dread in his gut, he lunges forward, Blade leading the way. Closing in on the skeletal nightmare, he finally looks like the main character he always wanted to be. He weaves through the miasma, dodging every nasty surprise the demon throws. One clean strike lands, and years of getting knocked around finally pay off. The demon just stands there, frozen like some cursed art installation. Eyes glowing, Haruto realizes he's the only thing standing between this thing and the other students. If this bone-white monster gets loose, everyone here becomes lunch. He can't explain it, but somehow he knows he's the only one who can stop this. Locking eyes on the target, Haruto decides it's finally his time to shine. Our boy stares down a high-level demon like he's got something to prove. And honestly, he does. Meanwhile, always having a small crisis. This defective kid is doing what actual pros can't. The demon just floats there in a purple cloud, tossing invisible orbs like it owns the place. Always sweating, trying to figure out how Haruto can even see something that shouldn't be visible. Fair enough, Aoi got wrecked by one of those orbs earlier without seeing it coming. He watches Haruto like a confused, proud parent. X-ray vision? Or just built different? Of course, that's when a whole swarm of monsters crushes the party, drawn in by the chaos. Always 5 seconds from a meltdown. Being popular with demons was not today's plan. Time to show off, he unleashes his raging dragon arm, lighting up the field in blue and red. Playing the protective older brother, he tells Haruto he'll clear the small fry so Haruto can focus on the boss. It's a classic I trust you, don't die moment as always hands him the job of tracking the orbs. Haruto's thrown by the sudden teamwork, but always shuts him down. He's got the title and the ponytail. With that, Aoi dives headfirst into the monster pile, hoping Haruto doesn't do anything reckless alone. Now it's just Haruto and the boss, and he's already rethinking every life choice that led here. He swings his blade at the orbs like it's a high-stakes round of Fruit Ninja. But it's not going great. Metal on thin air means hit it harder isn't working. Then it clicks. This was never about power. It's about deciding what he wants gone. A massive red slash tears the air, and for a second, it looks like he's winning. Except the demon didn't get that memo. It just spawns more orbs, chasing some kind of record. Still, Haruto doesn't back off. If it's in his way, it's getting deleted. He bends the laws of physics, dodging death by inches over and over. He parries a cluster of orbs, muttering a mental damn it as the numbers keep climbing. Problem is, he can only see them once they're close enough to graze his face. The demon's spamming clones now, and grinding them down one by one is a losing move. So he goes for broke, ignore the tiny orbs, goes straight for the demon's throat. He hits full speed, launching himself right into the eye of the storm. Purple malice and red fury blur together as he threads the gap in its defense. He spots an opening in the demon's core and thinks, got it, this fight's basically over. He brings the sword down with everything he's got, the kind of hit that should end it. Except it doesn't. The demon deflects him like he's nothing, and now he's wide open. And that's when an orb he never even sensed comes flying straight at him. The impact sends him flying, and the spray of red is not a good look. He's basically a falling star right now. Bloodier, way less magical. Always screaming from the sidelines as Haruto hits the dirt, looking done for. As everything goes dark, Haruto's last thought is a simple, relatable crap. Next thing he knows, he's floating in a familiar void, wondering if death actually means it this time. Enter Megatsukami, looming with one giant judgmental eye, calling him pathetic as always. Upside down and already having a rough day, Haruto has zero patience for the gods' attitude. Honestly, this void spirit is the ultimate toxic coach, mocking him for nearly dying with the 10 claws already in hand. Turns out he's failing because he's only chasing direct death. Rookie mistake, apparently. Stop obsessing over the orbs, the spirit says, and start watching the guy throwing them. It's basically a crash course. Everything is a weapon if you read the intent behind it. Every attack, Megatsukami explains, is really just a personal get-well-never card in blade form. Haruto drifts through a landscape of shattered glass, about as broken as his health bar right now. He finally lands on the god's skeletal hand, looking tiny next to his least supportive life coach. Then the light bulb flickers on. If everything's a sword, then everything can be parried, ego and all. Basically kicked out of his own mind, the spirit sends him back before the demon finishes the job. Snapping back to reality, our boy stands in the crater glowing with, about to carry the team energy. He's moving again, dodging orbs like it's a rhythm game on hard mode, and his footwork is clean. Blood dripping down his face. He admits he was seconds from actually meeting the afterlife. Turns out his death sense was just a panic alarm that only rang once death was already knocking. Now he's locked in. Stop defending. Start hunting for the opening in the demon's soul. No more playing victim to purple stress balls. Every orb is just another weapon now. In his head, each orb becomes a blade, and he's the professional swordbreaker closing up shop. His eyes glow red, and for once he's not reacting, he's actually seeing the malice coming. A massive spectral shadow of Magatsukami rises behind him. Officially, he's graduated from defective. With one earth-shattering roar, he unloads everything he's got, turning the field into a danger zone. It's the 10 claws technique, and the demon is very quickly regretting every choice that led here. One clean strike, and the demon and its orbs are cut clean in half. Aoi just stares, looking like he watched a goldfish bench press a truck.
What?
But being a hero is exhausting, and Haruto finally hits empty, collapsing onto the grass. Right on time, the announcement rings out. Exam over, everyone can stop trying to murder each other. The force transfer kicks in, beaming everyone back to HQ like a cheap sci-fi movie. Aoi stands over him, ego a little bruised, admitting he's shocked the kid actually survived that. Still, ever that Sundra, Aoi makes sure Haruto knows surviving doesn't mean he's actually good yet. Haruto, still rocking his exhausted but cool pose, tells Aoi exactly where he can put that approval. Back in the monitoring room, the purple glasses instructor smirks. His secret bet is finally paying off. The rest of the staff sits in shock, watching a failing kid solo a fight that shouldn't have been survivable. The glasses instructor is basically taking a victory lap in his head, asking who's ready to admit he won the bet. Another examiner, all business, reminds him Haruto's actual grades are still trash, boss kill or not. But the scoreboard doesn't lie. Haruto's sitting in first with 1,000 points, miles ahead of everyone else. The headmaster lurks in the shadows, letting Haruto pass, but making it clear this is on his own terms. Then it turns dark fast. If Haruto ever becomes a threat to the world, the headmaster will end him personally. And just like that, he dumps the whole responsibility on the glasses instructor. If Haruto goes rogue, it's on him. As Haruto sleeps off the win, the headmaster watches with a look that says, "Don't make me kill you." No pressure. Our boy Haruto's finally made it to Tokoku Academy, and the cherry blossoms are giving major main character energy. He stands there looking determined, ready to start his journey at the world's top demon-slaying school. But he's not the only star today. Enter Aoi Ryudoji, the top-ranked student, taking his oath on stage. Honestly, Ryudoji looks like he invented stoicism, radiating that effortless genius everyone else is jealous of. While the crowd swoons, Haruto watches from the seats, realizing the gap between him and the top students is huge. He thinks back to a month ago when he was just a kid getting bullied, never expecting to make it this far. Everything changed the day he met Akuta, some mysterious guy who gave him a thumbs up and a new destiny. Now he's locked in, promising to sharpen his skills and become someone people can actually count on. But then a tiny panic hits. He still doesn't really know what a demon slayer even does. Before he can spiral, the headmaster takes the stage, and the air itself seems to get heavier. Haruto's startled by how the old man just appeared, looking ready to start a boss fight instead of a speech. The headmaster talks about the freshman's limitless potential, but he's not here for pep talks. He's got a demonstration planned. He plunges his sword into the stage floor, and the impact ripples through reality itself. Suddenly, the whole ceremony gets yanked into a cosmic void, students floating like they wandered into a galaxy screensaver. Zero gravity and all, our boy wonders if he accidentally signed up for astronaut training instead. As the students drift in all, the headmaster keeps lecturing about the weight of protecting everyday peace. He looks like a full-on space god, telling them their goals should be bigger than the universe itself. Then the real showstopper arrives. A blinding light reveals a figure who's basically a living legend. The students lose it completely, whispering and pointing, realizing they're standing in front of someone famous. It's Kanem Akota, the legendary Blade Emperor, looking down at the new recruits like it's no big deal. Haruto's eyeballs are practically sweating. The cool guy he chatted with earlier is the strongest warrior alive. Akuta skips the small talk and drops some real wisdom. Even the best technique means nothing without a purpose. Basically, he tells them their worth comes down to why they choose to fight at all. He challenges them to find that reason, calling this whole cosmic trip their very first lesson. Haruto hangs on every word, feeling the weight of the Emperor's gaze sink in. To wrap it up, Akira decides the moment deserves of a little flair. One smooth swing of his blade, and the void shatters like it was made of thin glass. Haruto can only watch as reality breaks apart, sending the whole class tumbling back to the real world. They land on the school grounds under falling cherry blossoms, like the last 5 minutes never happened. Akota just smirks, casually congratulating everyone on enrollment as if he didn't just bend the laws of physics. While the rest cheer and cry with joy, Haruto's brain has basically short-circuited. Fans are losing it. Seeing the Blade Emperor on day 1 is the ultimate freshman flex. Meanwhile, our boy is internally screaming, realizing he treated the actual goat like some random stranger. As the legend wanders off, Haruto realizes he really should have clocked that main character energy sooner. He kicks himself for missing it, but honestly, who expects the world's strongest hero in a bucket hat? The scene shifts to Class 3's building, a glass palace that makes Haruto feel even more out of place. Inside, the room's buzzing with gossip about the ceremony. The Blade Emperor hype hasn't died down at all. Haruto finally stumbles in looking wrecked, because he genuinely got lost trying to find the room. Then the air turns cold as their new homeroom teacher, Kasabi, walks in and tells everyone to sit. He introduces himself as their Chikigami manipulation instructor and tells them to start acting like trainees, not tourists. Naturally, gossip spreads fast. Turns out he's from the famous Kasabi family of Onmyoji. While some girls wonder if the new teacher's single, Kasabi already looks done with all of them. He lays down the law. Togoku Academy isn't about looking cool in uniforms, it's about becoming elite. No good vibes required here, he warns. Moving up means certifications, plain and simple. Turns out being a demon slayer is messy and dangerous, basically a daily fight for your life. Surviving takes mastering both high-level swordsmanship and martial arts. Sounds cool until you realize people actually die doing it. And that's not all. There's also Onmyo-jutsu, the art of controlling Chikigami spirits. Kasabi flexes with a magic circle behind him, warning that failing these tests means kissing graduation goodbye. While everyone quietly wonders if it's too late to transfer, Haruto's just trying to absorb the rules. He tells the class to follow him, promising to show what certification actually takes. He leads them to the training grounds, where massive black stone pillars stand like they're daring someone to fight. The task is simple: summon a Shikigami and completely wreck one of those pillars. Kasabi leans against a table, clearly unbothered, and offers a deal. Pull it off today, and he'll sign off personally. This red-haired student's already feeling himself, convinced middle school prepared him for this exact moment. He pulls out a paper charm, channeling energy like he's about to drop the year's hottest summon. With a confident smirk, he manifests a manta ray Chikigami. Impressive, at least until it has to actually do something. He sends it flying at the pillar with a big shout, but it just flops uselessly against the stone. Reality check hits fast, while Kasabi casually reminds them there's no time limit, fail as many times as they like. The rest of the class starts sweating, realizing these pillars aren't just for decoration. Inari, the olive-haired student, watches from the side, thinking basic skills won't cut it here. Our boy stares at his blank paper charm in pure panic, and Inari clearly notices him struggling. Inari asks why he's frozen, and Haruto has to admit the embarrassing truth: he's never summoned a Shikigami in his life. Inari is genuinely shocked. This is supposed to be the basics. How did this guy even get through the gates? But Haruto has zero shame, flashing a desperate grin and begging for a quick crash course. Luckily, Inari's a good sport and agrees, probably figuring it beats watching him panic all day. Meanwhile, the training field's turning into a graveyard of broken dreams as student after student fails. The red-haired kid's still at it, pointing and shouting, but the stone stays perfectly intact. So Kasabi decides it's time for a live demo. A real demon slayer needs more than a sharp blade. Onmyo Jutsu, he explains, exists to fill the gaps where physical steel just isn't enough. To prove it, he summons his own Chikigami, a massive glowing white tiger that could eat the whole class. One effortless swipe shatters the pillars into rubble, sending a shockwave across the field. Kasabi stands there unbothered, telling his stunned students this should be second nature by now. The class freezes, realizing their masterpiece attempts are basically toys next to the teacher's standard. He doesn't hold back, telling them to face reality if they want to survive long enough to graduate. 6 certifications, he adds, just to make it to next year, so use the time wisely. Then a loud cheer cuts through the lecture, and Kasabi's genuinely confused hearing Haruto celebrating something. Turns out he's finally summoned something, a tiny shivering pink rabbit. He's thrilled. Inari looks concerned. Kasabi remembers a conversation with the Blade Emperor himself, who specifically asked him to watch this unique kid. Right now, the teacher's just facepalming, regretting every decision that led to this exact moment. While Haruto cuddles his new spirit friend, Kasabi wonders why the strongest man alive cares about a boy whose best move is a bunny. Our boy's currently obsessing over his new Shikigami, a shivering pink blob with legs. He thinks it's adorable. The whole class disagrees. The instructor's over the cuteness, calling it a total disaster. Haruto just stands there, completely unbothered. Kasabi's practically foaming at the mouth, screaming that Haruto isn't even exam qualified. Still, that no thoughts, head empty energy just won't crack. Class ends because Kasabi genuinely can't take another second of Haruto's chaos. He storms off, vibes officially ruined. Haruto stares at a massive campus map like it's a puzzle, not a building. Classes start tomorrow, he still needs to find his way. Enter Doji Toya, already looking at Haruto like gum stuck to his shoe. Pure disgust. Our blue-haired boy gives the ultimate judgmental stare. He's not a fan of anyone less serious than himself. Haruto brings up the time Toya randomly attacked him. Toya waves it off as trivial, rich, coming from the guy who started it. Toya changes the subject, asking which dorm Haruto's staying in. Haruto just stares back, realizing he skipped a few steps. It finally clicks, he needs somewhere to sleep by tonight. Toya just stares, stunned by the lack of planning. His face says it all, enrollment day, and Haruto's basically homeless. Haruto shrugs. Everything just happened too fast. Toya keeps lecturing about basic common sense, sounding exactly like someone's angry mom. Turns out Haruto's been roughing it in a tiny storage room, sleeping on the floor like a sad sleepover. Fine, as long as it keeps the rain out. Toya's appalled, telling him a demon slayer shouldn't live like a stray cat. He looks physically pained by the standards on display. He gets in Haruto's face, reminding him he's got a recommendation from the actual Blade Emperor. Sleeping in a closet is a waste of that. Toya storms off in a huff, done dealing with pathetic displays for one day. Haruto stands there thinking about Akuta Kaname, the pinnacle of all demon slayers. It still hasn't quite hit him who's vouching for him. Around the corner, social climber Inari is eavesdropping and practically having a heart attack. Inari came here to suck up to Toya, but he's quickly realizing Haruto might be the real meal ticket. Turns out the Shikigami failure is the Blade Emperor's personal pick. Ultimate T, and he's the only one who heard it. Inari figures Haruto's hidden potential must be insane if he got in without even knowing how to summon properly. Hello, Destiny. Inari's practically glowing, deciding that the fronting Haruto is his fast track to glory. Haruto heads back toward the map, only to get ambushed by Inari popping out of the shadows. With a cheeky wink and a salute, Inari Itsuna introduces himself, radiating definitely not stalking my classmates' energy. He plays it cool, offering to help with the map. Haruto's instantly relieved. Finally, a nice person. Fate, apparently, made them classmates, and Inari suggests they become instant best friends. Haruto's fully on board. Our boy's practically tearing up, thinking he made a real friend. Inari is mentally patting himself on the back. They head to the directory, Haruto's still stuck picking a dorm. Then his phone lets out a loud ding. It's a message from Kaname Akuta himself. Inari nearly jumps out of his skin. The message recommends the Tsukumo dorm, complete with a casual selfie of the Blade Emperor. Basically a command from on high. Inari peeks at the phone, sweating bullets, confirming it's really him. Now he's wondering just how much the top guy actually likes Haruto. Emperor's stamp of approval means Inari's tagging along too. They head toward the mysterious dorm, vibes already getting weird. They arrive, but instead of a welcome, a terrified student sprints past screaming like his life depends on it. Haruto and Inari just stand there, watching him vanish. Never a good sign for a dorm. Suddenly, a massive sake bottle drops from the sky and slams the ground with a thunderous thud. Officially spooked, they meet the dorm mother, sitting on a crate, drinking like it's a sport. She calls them Scranya on sight. Haruto politely asks who she is, ignoring the giant bottle. She is clearly not in the mood for small talk. She introduces herself as dorm mother, though she looks more like a final boss. Haruto notices the building was hidden under thick ivy the whole time. Haruto explains the dorm was recommended to them. That catches her attention fast. Her eyes narrow. This must be the kid Akuto mentioned. She looks him over like meat to tenderize. Inari's internally screaming. She just dropped the Emperor's name like it's nothing. Then she demands the party trick for entry. The boys just stand there blank, completely confused. First night, and it's already anything but normal. This is her house, and she decides who stays. Sipping her sake bowl, the vibe is Boss Gabe with a serious drinking problem. Show her something boring, she warns, and they're out. Inari's internally screaming, wondering if she's serious or just drunk. A broken bone isn't even a threat here, she says casually, the least welcoming welcome speech ever. To prove it, she smashes a sake bottle barehanded like paper. She's not playing games. Haruto puts it together. That's exactly why the other student was sprinting for his life. Completely insane. Officially confirmed. Inari's ready to bail, but Haruto's stuck thinking, staring at the ivy-covered building that might be home. Deep down, he trusts his gut. If the Blade Emperor recommended this place, there's a reason worth the chaos. Haruto's hyped and ready. Inari's still stuck on broken bone. The infirmary can fix it easily, sure, but that's still not nothing. No more talking. She points sharp nails at Inari, deciding he's going first. He's practically jumping out of his skin. She just hits him with a "you doing it or not" glare, popping her knuckles. Inari's got zero escape plan left. Trapped, he tells Haruto not to blame him for whatever happens next. Pure desperation, or maybe hidden courage. Suddenly, he transforms into a professional chef, chopping cabbage at food processor speed. He's even got a wok on fire, flipping food like a reality TV contestant. Turns out the social climber moonlights as a chef. Order up. He presents a glittering platter of gourmet food, way too good for a student dorm. She takes a bite and freezes. It's actually good. The tension finally starts to lift. Feeling himself now, Inari brags he can whip up snacks for her drinks all day. Dorm cook secured. She gives him the pass, and he celebrates like he won the lottery. One down. Pressure's on Haruto now. Now it's his turn, and she wants to see what he's got. He scratches his head. His only real talent is cutting bangs. She leans in with a smirk, daring him to show her something with a blade. Time for the real test. She leaps like a ninja, landing gracefully on a cherry blossom branch, making a whole spectacle of it. She plucks a single petal, and it starts glowing with mysterious blue spiritual energy. Not just nature anymore. Simple rules. She drops the petal. He slices it before it touches the ground. High stakes, don't let it fall, but with swords. Inari thinks this is way too harsh, yelling at Haruto to see if he's serious. He just calmly says he'll try. She lets go, and the petal begins its slow, glowing descent. Haruto watches like a hawk. Quick flashback. The Blade Emperor personally asked her to look after this kid. Turns out she's testing him, not just bullying. When someone like the Emperor asks a favor, she figures, it usually means someone special. She jumps down for a front row seat. Honestly, that legendary connection just makes her want to go harder on him. In a flash, Haruto draws his blade at a speed nearly impossible to follow. The world blurs around him. If slashing's his only trick, she notes, he'd better be able to handle this. She watches him like an unsolved puzzle. One perfect vertical slash through the falling petal, his red eyes locked in with an intensity nobody's seen before. He sheathes his sword as cherry blossoms swirl around him, straight out of a movie, and he's the lead. He's pleased with himself. Inari's just standing there, jaw on the floor, having seen nothing but a blur of steel and petals. Haruto shows off the piece he caught, proof it actually happened. Inari's having a full meltdown. He mentions casually that the other half is probably lying around somewhere. Totally unbothered. She's rethinking everything. Turns out the pellet was wrapped in spiritual energy, a moving target most people would completely lose track of. And the real kicker, out of thousands of falling pellets, he cut only the one he was aiming for. She gives him the pass, admitting his skill reminds her of the Blade Emperor back in his own student days. Our boys celebrate their new home, blissfully unaware of the storm of chaos waiting just ahead. Haruto gets a cosmic wake-up call, a voice in his head telling him to stop playing around and unlock his sword's true power. Morning light hits the dorms, and he wakes up wondering if that voice was real or just an intense dream. He heads to the common area, hoping breakfast feels a bit more normal than his mental headspace. In the kitchen, Inari's rocking a headscarf and apron like a pro, the dorm mother watching closely from the background. Haruto's confused by the domestic look. Inari just gives a teary smile, claiming he's a natural-born chef. Turns out the dorm mother drafted him for kitchen duty at the crack of dawn. The rest of the dorm stays suspiciously quiet, caution tape over several doors hinting nobody else is an early bird. Breakfast lands like a 5-star meal. Inari clearly poured his soul into the grilled fish and miso soup. Haruto's genuinely touched to finally have someone to eat with. Inari looks ready to faceplant into his bowl from exhaustion. Once the food hits the table, Haruto realizes he needs answers about what happened in his sleep. He asks Inari if he knows anything about talking to the being that lives inside a manifestation blade. He still can't shake the image of that massive glowing eye staring him down from his own psyche. The voice said their connection was too weak, Haruto explains, which shocks Inari. Hearing from a sword god this early is incredibly rare. The dorm mother lingers in the background as Inari explains most slayers go their whole lives without a peep from their blades. Turns out Professor Urashizeya is obsessed with blade studies and would flip out over this discovery. So they decide to track him down after their morning classes to make sense of Haruto's cosmic roommate. But first, physical enhancement class, and the campus looks like a high-stakes ninja obstacle course. Students fly through the air dodging swinging weights, mostly just trying to look cool while gasping for air. Examiner Momo reminds the class that demon slayers don't get to have ordinary human limits, looking perfectly composed in her pink buns. Inari is barely hanging on, grumbling that it's easy for her to say while he's getting crushed by practice weights. Those glowing ankle cuffs are siphoning energy the whole time, turning a simple run into a workout from hell. Meanwhile, Haruto's tearing up the track, dodging lasers and barriers like he's in a heist movie. He crosses the finish line in a blur, though he's definitely feeling the burn afterward. Momo isn't exactly generous with praise, pointing out he's using spiritual energy to mask sloppy technique. Instead of getting defensive, Haruto just laughs while the rest of the class lies defeated behind him. He's actually glowing. For once, someone's treating him like a normal student instead of a failure. Momo catches that expression, realizing there might be more to this kid than she first thought. She tells him to take full advantage of what the academy offers, basically high praise coming from her. Then she ruins the moment instantly, ordering 10 more laps, and a wave of agony sweeps the class. By afternoon, the group moves to blade studies, hopefully a bit less athletic and a bit more academic. Professor Yurishizaya takes the stage in a leather jacket, calling blade theory the second philosophy of life. Poor Inari's already fighting sleep, head bobbing as the lecture drones on. The classroom's a sea of exhausted teens, still recovering from the morning's brutal workout. Haruto's the only one genuinely captivated, finding the mystery of the blade world fascinating. He's finally stepping into a world he was once barred from, and he's not wasting a second of it. Inari catches that starry-eyed look and realizes his friend is truly thriving here. He even starts daydreaming about them as a legendary duo, imagining himself leading the charge alongside Haruto. The second the lecture ends, Haruto jumps up to catch the professor before he slips out the door. He asks in the hall if the professor really is the expert on the entities living inside their swords. The professor's face lights up with manic energy the moment he hears the question. Suddenly, he's speed-walking toward his office, firing off 100 questions about the spirit's appearance. When Haruto mentions the voice told him to draw out his true power, the professor grins. Perfect timing, apparently. Honestly, he admits, he's just trying to satisfy his own intense curiosity about that rare voice. Normally, deep connection allows constant chats with the sword god, but as a rookie, Haruto's doing this the hard way. Professor Yurishizaya leads the way to a special training spot like he's revealing campus's best-kept secret. They arrive at the Blade Studies training hall, reinforced with barriers that are basically demon-proof. He points to a mechanical puppet, explaining this wooden guy is the entire reason they're here. Haruto's skeptical, but the professor insists it's a high-tech model No. 7, built with the finest techniques. There's a slot built into its back made specifically for manifestation blades. Go ahead and plug it in. Haruto slides his blade in, probably expecting a light workout, not a spiritual meltdown. The second it connects, things go south. His spiritual energy gets siphoned out like soda through a straw. Red energy flares everywhere as the puppet absorbs everything it can grab. The professor looks delighted, explaining the puppet transforms into an enemy match to the student's own strength. Then he drops the bomb. Beating this thing is Haruto's certification exam. Inari looks completely stressed. Haruto tries to stay focused through the red lightning, while Inari wonders if skipping straight to a boss fight is even legal. The professor waves it off. As instructor in charge, he can absolutely authorize a sudden death match. Besides, he reminds them, Haruto ranked first in the entrance exams and already took down a high-level demon. Inari's sweating through his shirt hearing Haruto might genuinely be stronger than elites like Ryudoji. Truth is, the professor admits, he's just dying to study the legendary blade the Blade Emperor personally chose. Turns out he never cared about their grades. He just wants to see what monster is hiding in that sword. He even asks Inari if he's not a little curious too, while Haruto stays locked in his struggle with the hungry machine. Yurishizaya whispers a challenge to the god inside the blade, hoping his wooden puppet proves a worthy vessel. He's already sealed a massive containment barrier around the building, their own private world of spiritual chaos. Haruto's still gripping his sword as dark, shadowy energy starts erupting from the puppet's wooden joints. A plume of dark purple smoke swirls through the room. Something's definitely wrong here. Then a massive pillar of dark energy explodes upward, nearly knocking Haruto off his feet. He gets sent flying as the siphoned energy fully takes over the training hall. A voice mocks his fragile human body, even while admitting the wooden puppet makes a surprisingly useful shell. Haruto stares in horror. The voice from his dream just found a way to manifest physically. The puppet's transformed into a winged demonic entity, claws long, face straight out of a nightmare. The professor's stunned. It didn't just possess the puppet, it instantly mastered its built-in skills. Haruto freezes, overwhelmed by the evil radiating off what used to be a simple training tool. The spirit reveals its true face, glowing purple eyes making one thing clear, it's not here to help with certification. Inari shakes, realizing this terrifying thing is exactly what's been hiding inside Haruto's blade all along. The demonic spirit, mutant, decides extra people in the room will only get in the way of its lesson. Before anyone can react, It unleashes a wave of power, catching Inari and the professor completely off guard. With barely human speed, the winged demon strikes, trailing dark purple energy behind it. The impact is massive. The floor shatters and debris fills the hall in one shockwave. Inari and the professor slump against the wall, knocked out cold from a single brutal hit. Alone now, Haruto demands to know what Mutant did to his friends. The spirit just tells him to be quiet. It looms over him, calling him far too weak, constantly on the verge of death. And frankly, in the way, Mutant makes a chilling promise. It's going to teach Haruto how to actually use power with his own body, whether he likes it or not. Mutant stands there like he owns the place, telling Haruto to get into a proper stance already. Haruto eyes that ominous purple vibe, low-key panicking about what happened to Inari and their teacher. Stop letting your mind wander, Mutant snaps. Zoning out mid-fight is a rookie mistake. Then he sends Haruto flying like a discarded ragdoll while debris rains down everywhere. Fair or not, he gets roasted for hesitating. But come on, let the guy breathe. He slams into the ground hard enough to leave a crater. Mutant doesn't do gentle. Checking out his puppet hand, Mutant mocks him for holding back while the kid's fighting for his life. This wooden body's convenient for bullying students, sure, but it's rotting and full of flaws. Haruto tries the long game, hoping the puppet just self-destructs on its own. Mutant reads those spineless thoughts right off his face and shuts that hope down instantly. He launches a massive claw attack that tears the floor apart. Waiting was never an option. Battered and bleeding, Haruto catches a glimpse of his unconscious friend and decides he's finally landing a hit. Eyes hardening, he calls Mutant a bastard. The tough love has officially gone too far. Mutant just guilt-trips him harder, saying Haruto's the one who dragged his friends into this. Then comes the ultimatum: land a hit before the puppet rots away, or the friends don't wake up. That's enough to make him snap, and he charges forward with a terrifying red aura. Mutant just watches, smug, like the main character, as the blade swings toward his face. Suddenly a magic barrier pops up. He's going to need way more energy to break through. Slowpoke, Mutant sneers, telling him to use his brain for once. Then he sends him crashing right back to the floor. Dirt, again, for the 100th time today. But Haruto isn't done. He launches himself back up for another desperate shot. This time he hides a second slash behind the first, hoping to catch Mutant off guard. A massive shockwave rips through the hall, but the barrier's still holding. Mutant explains the severing claw technique, mocking him for not even coating his blade properly. Back on the floor, Haruto realizes he needs to charge up if he wants through that wall. Mutant wonders idly if just killing the brat might trigger something more interesting. While he's down, Haruto's mind drifts to Inari, his first real friend. Stop, he screams, but Mutant just finds the whole power of friendship thing hilarious. Then he remembers protecting Inari before and refuses to let this toxic spirit ruin the one good thing he has. Mutant keeps taunting, saying losing his only friend will leave his whole life hollow. He doubles down. Haruto won't even get to regret it properly, he's that helpless. Officially fed up now, Haruto's done letting this guy get in his head. Then something clicks. The energy flow suddenly feels different. He actually cuts through it, a massive glow up from 2 minutes ago. Charging back in, screaming, he tries to figure out exactly what changed. You can only protect people while they're alive, Mutant reminds him. Get on the offensive already. Didn't need the lecture, Haruto snaps back, readying to carve straight through. He lunges, blade clashing against another glowing purple barrier with a sharp metallic ring. Swatted away again like a fly, Mutant calls the attack too light to matter. Right in his face now, Mutant tells him to actually concentrate if he wants to survive. The clash intensifies, blades locked in a shower of sparks and purple light. Then a massive explosion of spiritual energy levels the hall in a sea of purple fire. Haruto can't wrap his head around it. How is this guy pulling off moves this light and this deadly? Toxic trainer mode activated. Mutant tells him he's trying too hard and wasting energy like it's a fire sale. But our boy's catching on, locking in on posture and movement like it's a high-stakes rehearsal. It's all about the flow, and for the first time he can actually feel it move through him. Blades clash again, sparks flying everywhere like a cheap fireworks show. Mutant launches a massive wave of purple energy, definitely not here to play nice. For once, the big bad spirit looks impressed, letting out a small ho. He's already curious whether that last hit was skill or a total fluke. Haruto realizes hoarding energy like a dragon guarding gold isn't the move. He needs to let it go. Think of a waterfall, he tells himself. It doesn't sit pretty, it shatters boulders. Energy needs to circulate and land exactly where it's needed. That's the real hack. Hyper-aware now, he charges in, making sure every drop of power actually does its job. In his mind, the energy travels from his core through his back, into his arms like lightning. It reaches his fingertips, and the tension is almost unbearable as he braces for the swing. He swings his blade with everything he's got, looking like a total boss doing it. But Mutant isn't going down easy, popping a triple barrier like he's guarding a private party. eyes glowing with pure determination. Haruto is completely done with the games. Severing claw versus sheer will. The training hall practically screams from the pressure. A massive shockwave rocks the air, and for a second the whole building looks ready to collapse. Somehow, he slices clean through that rock-hard barrier like it's wet paper. This localized concentration technique is the real deal, the foundation of a brand new reinforcement style. Mutant admits Haruto's finally met the conditions to see what his blade can really do. About time. The blade starts vibrating with intense energy, like it's about to explode. A massive burst of purple light fills the room, and Mutant sarcastically calls him a high-maintenance host. Suddenly, they're in the mental world, Haruto standing before a giant, unsettling eye. Now, the eye says, they can finally talk business. Apparently, even ancient spirits have goals. Meet the Peerless Mutant, officially introducing himself with a very specific reason for being here. He's hunting a man with a translucent manifestation blade, straight out of a mystery novel. Curious, Haruto asks why, hoping for something peaceful. It's not peaceful. Mutant just wants him dead, and says it with zero emotion. Visibly shaken, Haruto realizes assisted assassination wasn't exactly part of the curriculum. Mutant tries to justify it. This guy might become Haruto's enemy too. Doesn't help. Still, Haruto agrees to help search, making the best of a bad deal. But one condition, never drag his friends into this again, or there will be hell to pay. Fine by him, Mutant agrees, as long as Haruto keeps his end of the bargain. Some classic mentor wisdom follows. Real power is needed to protect what matters. With one final warning about the destiny now on his shoulders, Mutant fades, and the puppet finally gives out. Left alone in the wreckage, Haruto wonders how his life spiraled this fast. Back in reality, Professor Urashizaya hovers over him, equal parts worried and fascinated. He's low-key stunned that the spirit took over a training body that freely, practically unheard of. Even the leftover energy has an ominous vibe, like the bad vibes version of spiritual perfume. But our boy's devastated, blaming himself for getting his first-ever friend hurt. For once, the professor's genuinely kind, reassuring him he did well and that Inari will understand. Almost heartwarming, if you ignore the purple bonfire that used to be a training hall. Of course, the mood shifts right back to dread as the professor starts thinking about all the shadowy chaos lately. He mentions Haruto being some kind of irregular anomaly, quietly hoping his gut instinct is wrong this time. He stares off into the distance like he sensed a disturbance in the force, or maybe just remembered the oven's on. Either way, something big is brewing. Meanwhile, Haruto's still kneeling over a battered Inari. He can practically feel Destiny's gears grinding. Normal school life is officially over. Something's brewing in the background, giving Major Destiny its calling vibes. Back in the classroom, the teacher stands at the podium, probably about to drop a bombshell assignment. Inari leans over, dying to know how the certification exam actually went. Turns out Haruto passed, but there's a catch, a massive report before it's official. Inari's eyes practically sweat with joy anyway. Haruto bows his head, feeling like a burden for dragging his only friend into his complicated life. Inari just gives him a thumbs up. Friends do this. Haruto's low-key moved to tears. He's thinking he's the luckiest guy alive, while Haruto glows like he found an extra nugget in his meal. The demonology instructor steps up, rocking expensive gold earrings, talking about real-world experience. Then the order drops. Teams of 3, head to the training area. Good luck to the introverts. Haruto and Inari glance at each other, realizing they know exactly 0 other people in the room. The classroom turns chaotic as everyone scrambles for the strongest possible teammates. Inari is panicking. Looks like everyone's already teamed up and left them behind. Just then, our girl Funo appears out of nowhere, shy and sweet, asking if they've got room for a third. Cut to the demonology special training facility, basically a fancy mansion that looks thoroughly haunted. The heavy doors creak open, and the instructor tells Team 8 to secure the building. Inari's hyped, warning Haruto not to go full main character and clear the place before he can show off. Counting on you, Haruto tells Funo, who's already deep into her innocent student performance. Her smile's almost suspiciously sweet, but their oblivious boy is buying every bit of it. Playing leader, Inari reveals he's a fire type, ready to burn some monsters. Funo plays fragile support, insisting she can't handle herself alone. Inari's hero complex eats it right up. He tells Haruto to scout ahead while he protects the lady. Haruto's just happy to follow orders. Inari's really feeling himself now, thinking he looks like a total boss taking charge. Haruto zooms off to check the second floor, leaving the 2 of them to the lobby. He watches him go. Loki, relieved his new teammate won't see just how strong Haruto really is. The lobby suddenly fills with shadow demons. Finally, Inari's big moment. He unleashes his blazing sky move, turning the entrance into a literal bonfire. It gets so hot he's basically parkouring away from his own heat. Fino offers to boost his speed for the next wave of enemies. She fires off Wind Needle, though it looks a lot more aggressive than a buff shot. Instead of speed, Inari gets launched straight into the nearest wall. He lies there in a heap while she wonders aloud if she accidentally overdid it. She flips to worried teammate mode, but her eyes stay colder than a freezer. Inari struggles back up while monsters keep coming from every direction. A claw barely misses his head. Not exactly the cool leader moment he pictured. Scrambling for his life, he starts wondering why his own teammate's magic keeps hitting him. Then it clicks, this girl's doing it on purpose. Sure enough, Funo drops the mask, radiating pure Yandere energy with a terrifying smirk. Sweating through his uniform, Inari demands to know what her actual deal is. She doesn't even remember his name. To her, he's just an annoying third wheel in her Haruto fantasy. Turns out her plan is simple: knock him out for a few days, keep Haruto all to herself. She winds up another wind needle, not even pretending it's a support spell this time. So Inari is trapped in a haunted house with a certified psycho obsessed with his best friend. He stomps his foot. He's made up his mind. No more games, he decides. If she's an enemy, he's turning up the heat right now. When supposed to fuel fire, he reasons, a basic elemental buff. So why is everything going wrong? He figures his little display of dominance must have crushed her spirit. Oh honey, if only. Just stay still, he tells her, leaning hard into cool guy mode. Fate has other plans. Suddenly glowing water snakes appear out of nowhere. Inari blinks like a confused puppy. A literal tsunami of Onmyo-Jetsi water crashes over him. So much for the fire buff. Our fireboy is now a soggy mess on the floor. Wet cat energy, and honestly relatable. Water beats fire, Funo explains coolly. If her blade won't finish him, her spells definitely will. Turns out he's way in over his head. She's a total beast with magic. Way more than with a sword. She gives him a look that says his subscription to life just ended. No more cute sidekick ink. She unleashes Serpent Rain. Inari is screaming that it's not fair, and honestly those water snakes are cheating. Before she can finish him off, the ceiling itself decides to check out. Funo just stands there stunned. Out of the dust steps Haruto. Casually standing on a giant frog demon, he just turned into a rug. Kamakiri? Inari gasps, looking up like he's seeing an angel who saved his life without even trying. Haruto just stands there looking cool while Inari tries to warn him. Dramatic entrance. Zero awareness. In an instant, Funo flips back to Fragile Flower mode and tackle hugs him, claiming he saved her again. Again. Haruto asks, confused, while she flashes the sweetest smile imaginable. Inari just wonders if he's dreaming. He connects the dots and asks if they met during the third exam. Quick flashback, she looked completely different back then. She's glowing that he actually remembered. He admits he didn't recognize her. She's changed her whole vibe. She leans in, whispering that she worked hard to change her look, just for him. Do I look good? Yandere energy, laxed out. Inari tries to chime in, but one side eye from her tells him to shut up or stay wet forever. Sorry for the magic dispelling so suddenly, she says sweetly, like soaking Inari was a tiny upsie. Meanwhile, our queen showers Haruto with praise for beating the boss, like he's the greatest hero alive. Inari's having a full internal crisis. They've officially teamed up with a certified psycho, and he's the only one who knows. The squad finally heads back to the dorms after a long day of team bonding and attempted murder. Walking down the hallway, Inari looks like he's seen a ghost. Haruto, completely oblivious, asks if something happened. Inari starts spilling, there's definitely a problem with that girl Funo. Speak of the devil, Funo pops up behind them like a horror movie jump scare, asking sweetly, what about me? Inari nearly jumps out of his skin. Turns out she lives in their exact dorm. Coincidence? Not a chance. It clicks, this was planned. He even remembers her lurking during the dorm entrance exams. A professional stalker. Before he can say more, she covers his mouth. No way, flashes through his mind as his life replays. Leaning in close, she promises a very short future if he talks. Basically, I know where you sleep. Still the most oblivious boy alive. Haruto asks what's wrong. Inari quickly pivots, suggesting they all trade contact info as teammates. Funo's all over that, acting like it's the best thing since Haruto's white hair. He's genuinely surprised she'd want his number. Touched, thinking he's finally making real friends, he has a wholesome moment while a literal war whispers next to him. While Haruto smiles, dreaming of tomorrow's perfect training, Funo and Inari trade quiet threats of destruction. Team aids off to a great start. This abandoned hospital is Class 3's practical training ground, basically a playground for demons, thanks to all that built-up miasma. Kasabi isn't going easy on them either, bringing in an active demon slayer to oversee the session. Say hello to Yuma Ozuchi. Their guest instructor looks like he just rolled out of bed. Don't let the sleepy vibes fool you. The class is losing it. This guy's a literal celebrity in the Slayer world. While everyone else fangirls, Haruto just stands there wondering who this random guy even is. Turns out Yuma had the highest kill count in the business last year, the leaderboard's top score, basically. Before anyone can blink, he vanishes and reappears right behind Haruto, scaring the daylight out of him. Super humble about it too, claiming it's nothing, just bullying weak demons in his spare time. The class is shook. Nobody even saw him move. Kasabi cuts the gossip session short so they can actually get to the briefing. Yuma leans in, giving Haruto a small shout-out for actually tracking his movement. Back to business, the instructor assigns everyone their zones off the hospital floor plan. Each team gets its own turf to clear whatever demons show up. Yuma gives a blunt, don't die warning, then the real motivation drops. Free yakiniku for the top team. You can practically see everyone's eyeballs sweating at the mention of free grilled meat. Team 8 on the clock, heading for the west wing. Spirits high, stomachs empty. The second they step inside, the vibe goes from 0 to creepy fast. Mutant manifests out of nowhere on Haruto's head. Casually noting they've entered a low-level Naraka, Haruto nearly jumps out of his skin, demanding to know where this little purple spirit even came from. Looking out the window, he spots Kasabi outside and realizes the school's creating this demon zone on purpose. Confused about how demons even get here, Haruto gets a judgmental look from Mutant. Turns out human drama and activity create miasma, basically a beacon pulling demons into the human world. When that miasma thickens enough, it forms a Naraka, the kind of place big scary demons like to hang out. Look up, Mutant tells him, and see how the pros actually handle it. A massive glowing barrier hovers over the building like a giant purple neon sign. It's basically a shut-off valve, regulating the miasma so only weaklings get through for training. It finally clicks, a controlled vent for supernatural pollution. He checks his map again, still not sure if they're in the south wing. Meanwhile, Celebrities player Yuma's just wandering the halls, completely lost. In another wing, a team struggling against a mid-level demon, barely holding formation. Yuma watches from the shadows as they finish it off with a messy strike. Way too reckless, he tells them. Popping out, broaden your field of view. Terrified, they just nod. Arguing with the scary pro isn't happening. Up on the roof, Kasabi's controlling his paper shikigami, keeping watch over everything. Yuma joins him on the edge, suggesting he go down and actually encourage the kids for once. Not his job, Kasabi insists. A real professional keeps a broad perspective. So Yuma switches gears, asking when he even started teaching demonology and what happened to the old teacher. Turns out Mr. Maneki wasn't feeling well, and the headmaster personally asked Kasabi to fill in. Skeptical, the sleepy slayer isn't quite buying it. Cue a flashback, Kasabi once asked the headmaster why he was the one picked. The headmaster just stood there, back turned, radiating mystery. He starts with a weird story about 3 sparrows on a windowsill. Total gibberish on the surface. Turns out it's about ignoring a bad feeling once and everything falling apart. He lost 3 friends on a mission that day because he wasn't paying enough attention. Heavy baggage. Ever since, he's obsessed over every detail. Which is exactly why the best guy's watching the session. Yuma just listens to the whole backstory, probably wondering if this counts as overtime. We get a glimpse of the family legacy. The headmaster and his brother, the actual Sword Emperor. Bar set impossibly high. Kasabi's taking it seriously. Class 3's already a magnet for trouble without extra chaos. Yuma brings up the kid the Sword Emperor personally picked, figuring Haruto's doing fine with his new crew. Not in the mood for heart-to-hearts, Kasabi snaps at him to stay focused. Cool as ever. Yuma tells him to quit letting old feelings cloud his judgment and just look at these kids as they are now. Back in the hospital, Haruto gets a warning. A mid-level demon is heading their way. A giant red monster stomps into view, and things are about to get chaotic. Inari tries taking charge with his flaming sword, but Funo's definitely not the follow-the-leader type. Sweating buckets, Inari's desperate to prove he's a top-tier fighter in front of Haruto. Meanwhile, Funo's got that intense look again. Teamwork's not the point, getting Haruto's attention is. So the two of them end up fighting each other while technically also killing the demon, yelling at each other the whole time. Watching from a distance, Haruto realizes Free Akiniku has turned his teammates into savages. Then he senses something far worse than a mid-level demon hiding down the hallway. On the roof, a stranger in a straw hat stands on a giant purple magic circle, calling the students fine sacrifices. Original buddy. Lightning crackles around him as he draws his blade. Dramatic entrance. Fully committed. He swings, surfing the glowing ritual circle, clearly here to ruin everyone's day. Down below, both Kasabi and Yuma feel the vibe shift instantly. Something's about to go sideways. Even Mutant starts glowing with creepy purple energy on Haruto's head. Right beside Inari and Funo, another demon leaks through the walls. Barely any time to react. A massive, multi-faced arm smashes through the corridor, sending debris everywhere. It looms over Funo, and Haruto screams for her to move. Not waiting for an answer, he jumps in and slices through it before it can touch her. The demon dissolves into purple sludge as he checks that his teammate's okay. Still shaken, Funo wonders if that was just another mid-level threat. Haruto already knows better. This one was stronger. Then an entire army of shadow demons starts crawling out of every corner of the room. Kasabi's voice crackles over the comms, actually stressed for once. The control barrier's just been destroyed. He sends out Paper Shikigami for backup, telling everyone to just stay alive until help arrives. Black miasma swallows the whole area, and Mutant warns that the threat level is spiking fast. The spirit's eyes glow, sensing something even bigger about to rise out of the darkness. This isn't a training exercise anymore. A superclass demon's about to appear, and Haruto's standing right in the blast zone. In a trashed hospital ward, the trio finally catches their breath. The floor's cleared, but everyone looks like they ran a marathon through a blender. Haruto's still on high alert, waiting for Kasabi's Shikigami to pull them out of this nightmare. But peace isn't in the cards. A massive explosion sends debris flying as another monster crashes the party. The unnamed redhead screams a warning while Funo scrambles to find her footing in the chaos. And there it is, a high-level demon in a bone-white mask, looming over them like a bad omen. Funo feels the pressure, but she's not backing down now. The beast is shredded, hungry, and clearly ready for hospital snacks. So she unleashes Serpent Rain, not to kill it, just to blind it long enough for an opening. That's the window the redhead's been waiting for. Diving in with his blazing sky, his flaming blade slams into the demon's arm, like hitting a brick wall made of pure spite. Haruto spots the gap instantly, coming in hot with Severing Claw to finish it. He remembers that feeling from before, the flow where everything clicks and the world slows down. Threat neutralized. Fino basically melts into a puddle of relief on the floor. The redhead's genuinely impressed by the one-hit kill, but Haruto stays humble, crediting the team's assist. Watching him, his teammate can't shake the feeling their hero's growing fast enough to leave everyone behind. Suddenly, a very stylish boot enters the frame, signaling a new arrival. It's Yuma Ozuchi, finally showing up with his massive wolf Shichigami in tow. Fashionably late as always, he tells them it's time to head to the gathering point. Outside in the pouring rain, the whole class regroups in the parking lot, and things look grim. Kasabi drops the bombshell. Someone intentionally broke the barrier, and now demons are following their spiritual scent straight here. Funo looks ready to evacuate on the spot. Turns out that's not on the menu. Casually playing with a piece of debris, Yuma delivers the bad news. The exit's officially closed. He crushes the rock in his hand, just to show how thick this new cursed barrier really is. It's self-repairing too, which means they're effectively trapped inside a feeding ground. Kasabi tries to play the calm adult, hoping the outside worlds already sense the anomaly. Yuma turns to Haruto, remembering the kid can hold his own against high-level demons. Stick around and help Kasabi defend the place, he says, flashing that scary cool grin. Kasabi's a little surprised, but Yuma isn't wasting a capable fighter. The hospital looms behind them, the scale of the barrier massive and suffocating. Yuma's not the type to wait around. He's off to find a caster himself. Kasabi looks to Haruto, waiting to see if he's actually up for this kind of weight. Without hesitation, our boy gives a firm yes. Kasabi respects it, but warns him, this comes with real risk of death. Not scared though. If it means saving everyone, he's putting his life on the line. That's the answer Kasabi needed. No more talk. Time to act. He summons his Ox Tiger prison, two massive glowing spiritual beasts manifesting right in the parking lot. Yuma gives Haruto a quick pat on the shoulder. Demon Slayer first, teacher second. Then he leaves the rest to them, trusting the duo to hold the fort while he hunts. Watching him, Kasabi reflects on when he used to be the one calling all the shots. Now, though, he's ready to treat Haruto as an equal. Fresh demons close in, and Kasabi starts syncing up their movements for a real team-up. Haruto lunges at a winged high-level demon, Master's support right behind him. His strike lands with a satisfying splash of purple demon juice. Main character energy, fully activated. He's basically flying through the air, graceful enough to make you wonder if he's been practicing combat poses in a mirror. The finishing blow lands with total precision. Pretty impressive for a kid who was just a regular student a few chapters ago. Meanwhile, the rest of the class is losing their minds, watching a classmate solo a high-level demon like it's nothing. But Haruto stays humble, crediting Kasabi's flawless support magic for predicting his every move. Proud but serious, Kasabi realizes his student has officially stepped into the league of real demon slayers. The celebration's short-lived, though. A massive pillar of dark energy erupts behind the hospital. A chill runs down Haruto's spine as the air turns heavy enough to crush a spirit. Kasabi confirms it. A super-level demon has spawned, and it's not here to make friends. This one's a total tank, muscular and purple, radiating menace strong enough to make high-level demons look like kittens. It takes a deep breath, smelling all that juicy spiritual energy like it just walked into a 5-star buffet. Up on the roof, the Straw Hat Stranger casually asks the monster if it likes the sacrifices he prepared. He claims he's the one who set the table in this Naraka, turning the hospital into an all-you-can-eat zone. But he warns it to stay hungry, get careless, and it might end up on the menu instead. He reflects on the effort it took to spawn something this strong, sounding like a chef way too invested in dinner. Then Yuma drops in from above, clearly ready to end this rooftop tea party. He's found the caster and the demon both, looking far too calm for a world-ending threat. So over it, he actually tries to walk right past the massive demon like it's just another obstacle on his commute. Beyond defended, the demon warns him not to dare cross its path uninvited. Before it can blink, Yuma's blade flashes out, severing its arm clean. Ultimate cold shoulder. He tells the mere super-level demon to be quiet while the adults talk. Shook, the demon realizes this human isn't just fast, he's terrifyingly powerful. Outmatched, it pulls a coward move, fleeing toward the students to eat and power up. Right on its heels, Yuma tells it once more to shut up and accept its fate. But that confidence turns out to be a trap. Glowing chains erupt from nowhere, slamming into him. Turns out the caster was just waiting for the perfect moment to grab his real prize. The chains move with a mind of their own, entangling both demon and teacher in an instant. Fully immobilized, Yuma realizes in that exact moment he massively underestimated who was pulling the strings. Wrapped tighter than a holiday present, it finally clicks. These chains belong to the caster. The straw hat figure floats down like a gothic music video, mocking the bad demon slayer for crashing dinner. Then it turns from bad to nightmare. The chains pierce straight through him, suspending him midair like a marionette. A gruesome sight. The Academy's strongest fighter left dangling helplessly above the roof. Standing tall, the stranger mocks any idea that Yuma ever had a shot at capturing him alive. Under the hat, a young guy with glowing yellow eyes and a moon-face tattoo, delivering one message. The demon slayer got way too arrogant. Yuma's basically a human shish kebab right now, skewed by glowing chains. Up on the roof, Straw Hat Guy watches the chaos below like dinner theater. Face open, he tells the demons. On the ground, a massive super-level demon lands. Haruto's standing there looking like a snack. Oh close, this thing's even grosser. Drooling, calling Haruto tastier than the other students. Haruto's practically vibrating. This demon's malice feels like needles. Nothing like the mobs he's used to. It lunges for a bite. Then someone crushes the party. Kasabi slices the demon's arm off before it can even blink. The demon's confused, trying to place this random blonde swordsman. Done with this, Kasabi demands to know who gave this purple freak permission to threaten his students. The demon just stares him down, annoyed its meal got interrupted. Kasabi's doing quick math too. How did a supreme-level threat get here while Yuma was supposed to be handling this? Then a giant glowing circle appears under his feet. Straw Hat Guy's back, telling him not to move without permission. Teleportation magic. Kasabi shouts for Haruto to hold the fort. Hoof. Gone. Haruto's left standing there with a bunch of terrified kids and zero backup. No time to panic, he tells himself. Facing this thing alone is still a hard no. The demons thrilled, the annoying one vanished, crouching like a cat at a bird feeder. It lunges, jaw wide, ready to swallow Haruto whole. Teacher's gone. No choice now. Haruto locks in full protagonist eyes. Absolute claw. A high-speed slash, bold and fast. Clean hit. Purple blood everywhere. The arm's gone again, but the demon just stands there, unbothered. Like nothing happened. It laughs, admitting the blade's troublesome. Even compliments how close it got to his neck. Haruto's stunned. That dodge shouldn't have worked. And the arm's already regrowing. Regular slashes are pointless now, he realizes. He needs something permanent. He remembers the demon guarding its neck earlier. There's a weak spot somewhere. One more charge, everything on the line. The demon swats him away like a fly. One punch, and Haruto's cratering the pavement. Standing over him, it delivers the real insult. Great blade, terrible owner. Coughing in the dirt, Haruto struggles to move. The demon looks almost disappointed by how weak his meal is. Wait, surprise flickers across its face. It missed the kill. Turns out Haruto softened the blow on instinct. Annoyed now, it calls him an impudent brat, towering over him like a skyscraper over a squirrel. Another swing. Haruto's barely hanging on. He hits the ground again. This is a pummeling, plain and simple. No breathing room. The demon keeps coming, fully committed to finishing this. Still, his eyes stay sharp, tracking every movement, deflecting more than before. Finally done playing, the demon wraps its fist in purple energy. This time it means it. Meanwhile, Kasabi lands on some random rooftop. Rain here too. Wrong place entirely. Blood stains everywhere. Bad feeling. No friends waiting here. This is a trap. Chains fly out of nowhere, catching him off guard. He slashes back. His blade passes right through, like the guy's smoke. Straw Hat Guy promises to spill his blood too, moving in while Kasabi's still tangled. Now it's a full clash. Swords, chains, rained, kiss. Straw Hat just lets out a little ho, strolling through the storm like he owns it. Yuma finally breaks free of the chains, banged up but still smiling, asking Kasabi if he's okay. Kasabi thanks him. Yuma just shrugs. Yeah. Quick analysis from Yuma. Wood attribute. Regenerating blade. Total cheat code. The villain's impressed Yuma survived a torso slice, giving him a creepy, knowing smile. Sorry for the delay, Yuma says, explaining the weird drop point. Kasabi tells him to forget it, go back for the kids. But Straw Hat isn't letting anyone leave, catching Kasabi's sword with the chain. Oops. The demon's mid-meal right now, he brags, and he's not about to let chaperones ruin dinner. He'll just keep them busy till it finishes its snack. That moon-faced tattoo screams main villain. Furious, Kasabi calls him a bastard. Yuma studies him. Don't fall for cheap bait. So they decide to end this together, right here. Straw Hat just chuckles. He mocks them. The students might last 30 seconds tops on their own. Yuma smirks, reminding him he and Kasabi are Academy alumni too. Don't sleep on the juniors. Too slow. The villain keeps repeating, trying to sound intimidating. Then the big one. Too slow, dragged out like he's chasing a record. Back at the Academy, chaos reigns. A giant tiger spirit stands guard while something massive explodes behind it. Haruto's panicking internally. This demon's physical strength is way past his own. The demon grins, sensing checkmate coming soon. One split-second opening is all it needs. Suddenly, Wind Needle. A bright green blast catches it off guard. Then Flame Wheel. Fire rings the monster, turning the courtyard into a full barbecue. It's Kano and Inari, purple hair flowing, fists ready. Leave it to us, they tell him. Surprised, Haruto watches them arrive. Inari shrugs. Can't just sit by while a supreme-level demon wrecks the place. All smiles, Inari reminds him. Same squad, same team. Kano admits they can't land the kill, but they can definitely distract. Message received. Haruto's done monologuing. Just a simple got it, and a vibe shift is instant. Help me out, he shouts, lunging back in with real purpose now. Unimpressed, the demon asks if a little wall of flame is supposed to stop him. Won't even slow him down, he brags. Then Kano drops Serpent Rain, a wall of water crashing into the fire. Steam floods the courtyard instantly, blinding the demon completely. Foolish, he calls it, swinging wild through the mist. But Haruto's already diving through the steam, going straight for that neck. Shook, the demon realizes something's very wrong. The clean kill wasn't clean at all. Too bad, Kano says with a smirk, that was just her water doll decoy. While it's still confused, Haruto lands the real hit, straight through the middle. And that's where the story is currently at. Thanks so much for watching. If you enjoyed the recap, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe, because I'll be posting new chapters as soon as they come out. See you in the next one.